Hello, welcome to Beyond the Edge. Welcome, all of you. I'm your hostess, Brandy Deutsch.
Hi, I'm your co-hostess, Dee Dee DeMayo. We're so happy to have you here today. Light, love, and blessings.
This is such a great show today because I think this is going to be one of the first ones we do with just Dee Dee and I. So we get to talk a little bit about ourselves. We get to talk about our topic today, which is energy medicine in the Aquarian age. And we're going to talk about what kinds of things we want to expect in terms of what we'll be able to do, what we'll be able to see, how we'll be able to interact with each other. I'm super excited. I mean, I'm really excited about being able to do these things that we didn't think were possible or we didn't know we could do. But there's so much information out there now. And so, Dee Dee, I'm excited. What about you?
I'm very excited. What I find amazing already in 2021 is all the people that were, I guess, performing these spectacular healing energy things last year to transition us from 2020 to 2021. I'm feeling that. I literally have felt, like the dam has opened. And I think us talking about it today will bring it more to realization, I guess, for people to understand that it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked about just having that conversation. And I think a lot of us people are like, yeah, what do you mean? What are we going to talk about?
Right, right.
So before we get into all of that, one of the things I wanted to mention about a show that we did a few weeks ago with Rhonda Renee is we talked about clean crafted wine. And we did after the show is we had a wine tasting. So I wanted to
Yes.
kind of tell people a little bit about that experience. I don't normally drink wine. I mean, I kind of like it. I like the sweet stuff, but I usually get a headache and I don't feel well afterwards. And it's not even like a hangover. I'm talking about a couple glasses of wine and I felt crappy. So when Rhonda approached us and she said, clean crafted wine's different. You don't get all that. And it did. Like, I thought it made a huge difference. I love the taste. I didn't have a headache. I didn't have those normal, the symptoms I have whenever I drink wine. What did you think?
Right.
How did you like it?
Well, I just, I really appreciated the red wine that they had, and it was full bodied. It was perfect, I guess, to pair with your steaks and your red meats and people that like hearty food. It had a smooth taste. It went down well. It had for people that look for the body and the cling on the glass, even though it doesn't have a lot of the ingredients that normal wine is made from, it still had that body. You didn't second guess that they crafted it with care and trying to bring about the best product.
And when you intend for a high quality product, you and I talk about this regarding the show. In fact, we just talked about it. When you intend, not
Yes.
only intend, but project and plan and like open up the universe for having a quality product or having a quality show or it really sets the tone for what is going to come out of it. And it would take our ego out. That's the thing, right? So you can tell that people put this huge amount of care and consideration and love into what they do. And you take the ego out, you let God do it. So many amazing things happen. Things that you didn't even plan on happening kind of show up, right? So I wanted to just kind of share the information on the wine, Clean Crafted Wine by Scout and Cellar, so that people can kind of get an idea like, oh, maybe this is a nice alternative to what I'm used to. So would you mind running that?
Yeah, hold on just a second.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. I love it. So yeah, people can reach out to Rhonda and order some wine online. She can bring wine tasting to you and your group, your family, and it's amazing. It's superb. I have to say, I haven't ordered any yet, but I will very, very soon. So with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about you and I. So a lot of people don't know who we are. They don't know what we do. They don't know why we're doing a show. Who are these people? So talk a little bit about that. And so Dee Dee, I want to start with you. So I'm gonna read off your bio. Is that
Okay.
okay?
No, that's fine.
All right, awesome. So Dee Dee DeMayo is a justice coach, a theta healer, a level 3 Reiki practitioner, a mother and special needs advocate. She's overcome great obstacles in her professional and personal relationships to become a clear conduit for the keeper of secrets of God, Archangel Raziel. As a speaker of light language when channeling Archangel Raziel, twin flame Archean Zakara, no, how do you say
Jakara.
it? Zakara,
Jakara.
okay. And Ascended Master El Mora. Is that right?
The
Moria.
grandmother. Yeah.
The grandmother. Yeah, beautiful. Dee Dee reveals accurate information to bring about clarity and peace to her clients. Dee Dee's powerful faith in Creator, Christ, shamanism, channeling, the medicine woman, the grandmother, La Madrina,
Yeah. Madrina.
Madrina, thank you, and alchemy make her one of a kind prophetic healer and nurturer. She uses a use of combined knowledge and abilities, intuition, life experience, faith, psychology, herbal magic, spiritual and metaphysical is used in healing to help her clients. Dee Dee truly believes that we can all reach the goal of becoming our higher best self and become one without limits.
Exactly.
That's a
I call
mouthful.
that's my bowl technique. BOWL.
Tell
Become
us.
one. Become one without limits, because we are creators, co-creators with divine permission to do that, and becoming, each step that you go through, when you look back on your life, wow, okay, so what do you learn from that? How can you do that better? How can you bring that into transition and become someone that shares information? Or, when you were reading that, I was like, wow, you're talking about me? What? How because you don't sometimes realize just what God is fine tuning in your life and what he wants to bring out. And I tell you, you know, it wasn't until these last few years that courage, being around like-minded people like yourself, that you have the science and the 1 2 3 steps, and I'm just a faith wing it kind of person. I'm that wingman. You've helped me develop courage to become this person and talk about it in public and let someone read my bio, because before that, I was like, okay, they don't think I'm on the cray cray train. 2 scoops of crazy with a side of cuckoo too, for real. But having lived my life for so long, not allowing those things to flow, I was so miserable. And I was so unhappy. And I tell people, you might think I'm crazy, but that's okay, because I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life. Embodying what God gave you to do, as and just letting it flow, the freedom and passion and love and the newness in the world is renewed. So
Yeah, it's that empowerment and permission to be yourself, to be
exactly.
authentic, and to be more of who you are.
Yes.
We we become so afraid. I mean, the first step is to know and to
Hmm.
understand who
Hmm.
you are, right?
Hmm.
And there's
Yes.
all these amazing tools to help us now.
Right.
So
Right.
these great tools. So we got to utilize them. And then we need to be more practical and apply what we know, apply
Hmm.
what we learned. We learn a lot from doing that.
Yes.
And then we learn how to own it. We learn how to step in and claim who we truly are.
Yes.
So I'm excited for you. You just step into so many roles, Dee Dee. Like you just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna be a producer now. Oh,
That,
I'm
yeah, yeah. So, again, God has his own agenda. And when you are willing to step into that and trust, and he does ask permission, because I can choose not to do this, but why would I, when it gives me such joy, you know, and him, coming and saying, not only can you speak into other people's lives, I'm going to let you produce the content with someone that you've already been, you know, I put them in front of you years ago, and y'all have always said you're going to do something together, and then coming together and it being bam, 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 bam. I mean, no resistance. That's when you know God is fully on that path with you, lighting the way. And that's, I mean, you just don't question it. You got to, you do it.
Exactly. When there's no
Mm.
resistance, we talk about red flags all the time.
Yes,
We
yes,
talk about red flags, but I
yeah.
want to talk about green flags.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
want to talk
go
about
ones,
green
the ones that go.
the ones that go. Green
Yeah.
flags are really about us saying, hey, there's this thing over here that you really want to do,
Mhm.
and it's not working out for you. But then there's this thing over here that you're really, really good at, and I know you're not crazy about it, but that's the way you need to go right now.
Yeah.
And so universe starts putting these things in your path. Creator starts putting these things in your path, and you just go, wow, that was easy. Well, that's a green flag. That's
Yeah.
the direction you need to go in, right?
Yeah. It
So,
just, and it's a comfort thing. You like learning about the technology to produce this the way I'm doing it right now, and to be able, all the lighting and the things that go into it. I didn't have any training in that.
yes.
It just here you
Well, you're
go.
having it now. You're having it
Yeah,
now.
yes. We had a few mishaps or whatever in the beginning, but
Right.
luckily our audience that we're speaking to are people that are ready to understand that those are all stepping stones to
That's
becoming who you are, your best life, your best self,
that's
and helping others to do that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Providing the information, and then say, on your mark, set, go, that green flag, or I'll get you a black and white checkered one. You're off the races. Just go and don't let the world's crazy and the world's muck and mire keep you from being who you're supposed to be.
I love it. So forgive me for a moment. I'm just realizing I didn't have my mic on, so I'm going to turn that on real quick.
Oh,
I mean, I have a mic, don't get me wrong, but I've got my earbud mic here. All right. Just making sure everybody can still hear me. Okay,
yeah, I
good.
can. It faded you out just a little bit, but that's probably my volume. So I'm gonna,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, you're
Sorry.
hi. No.
Hi. And God's like, hello, you need a mic. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a great conversation to have. So I'm gonna go ahead and read my bio now. I should have given Dee Dee my bio and said, okay,
I
your turn to read for me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. It's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it. So Brandy Deutsch is a mother, teacher, intuitive health coach, and network leader. Brandy holds a master's degree in metaphysical science from the University of Metaphysical Science in Sedona, Arizona, and a health coach certification from Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. As a yoga therapy and meditation instructor, Brandy taught in corporations, schools, and healthcare facilities for over 20 years. And her work as a theta healer practitioner for 10 years is focused on unlocking limiting beliefs and trauma resolution. That's how you and I met, Dee Dee.
Hmm.
Today, Brandy is the host and co-producer of Beyond the Edge, an international TV, radio, and podcast show dedicated to exploration of healing the body, mind, and spirit. She is also a leader of the Houston chapter of Women of the World Networking Group. So, more technical than your bio. I went more.
Yeah,
Here's the
yeah.
facts.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. You're a 1, 2, 3 kind of person,
I am.
and I'm A. Let's meet B. Let's just go there, and I'm gonna take you all the way to Z on just trust and let's go.
Exactly. And
It's
and you and I have
fearless.
been and you and I have
Hmm.
been friends for like, I don't know, 6,
8 years.
7 years, 8 years
8.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't yeah, me and math don't get along. Um, and so and so I really think that you and I were kind of cut from the same cloth, and we share the passion for creator and for
Hmm.
the power of belief. So we hit it off really quickly. You and I just
Yes.
went, oh, well, there you are,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
we just kept going with it. And I love that. Like I just love when, again, green flag, right?
Yes.
When something happens and you go, oh, well, this feels like this was all right all along. And
Yes.
you just keep moving through it, and it works until it doesn't. And guess what?
Right.
When it doesn't, it's time to move on.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I see this being so much um, a needed show and format and platform with all the types of information we're going to bring, though, that you know it might not be something we do together, but we may have to have separate shows because we're going to have so much information disseminated. It's like, wow. So, and there's no limits, really. BOWL, become one without limits.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
And sometimes people like to hold on to things. Like we
yeah.
want to hold on to, oh, this was so good. I want that, or I want that again, or whatever it is. But you can't, you got to let go of the past, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
You cannot let what happened yesterday affect what's going on today,
Yes.
and vice versa. Like,
Yes.
and also for the future, projecting. I mean, I think planning is good. Having a plan is nice, right? And
Yeah.
what's that saying? Make God laugh, tell him your plans,
Yeah,
right?
you plan, God laughs, and he has a sense of humor. Sometimes I'm like, "Wow," but he'd have to with as crazy as some of his creation can be. It's like, "Look, I'm trying to show you this," and you're, like, over here flailing around. But
Exactly.
stop that.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell a little bit of story about something that happened last night. I was kind of restless last night. I had like a little allergy thing yesterday, and getting to sleep was difficult. It was challenging,
Mhm.
and I don't normally look at my phone before I go to bed because I don't like those EMFs before I go to sleep. I don't like the disruptions before I go to
Mhm.
bed. But something told me grab your phone, just and there was actually a couple of messages on my phone that I needed to look at. So I'm glad I did. One of them was from a friend that I know on Facebook, and she had announced that her dad had fallen and hurt his neck, and he needed neurological surgery. And she was
Oh, wow.
asking for prayers. And I thought, wow, yeah, okay, great. That's what I needed to hear. I really needed to pray and like send energy tonight. And so I asked her his name. Sometimes for me, a person's name helps me tune in and connect to their energy a little bit stronger. I mean,
Mhm.
I can always, do a meditation or connect with creator when say, oh, okay, my dad. That's I could do that, but I like to have the name. I like to have the energy to connect to, or a photograph. And so when she said that, I asked for his name and she gave me his name. And so I connected to him. And we have soul conversations in theta healing. So
Mhm.
through theta healing, you can speak to God, God can speak to you, and you can connect to that energy and have a soul conversation with anyone,
Yeah.
alive or not alive, or, also you can also talk to an object. You can talk to a house. You can, and I say talk to, I mean connect with their energy, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Also, animals, right? So that's the best way
Yes.
to do it. So I connected with her father, and he was so sweet. He said, I said, how are you doing? Are you going to be okay? What's happening? He's like, man, I'm strong. I can deal with this. I have this, and he's like, is what he said. I'm too busy to be laid up. Like he said, I'm too busy. And, I didn't talk to his daughter yet. I didn't talk to my friend yet, but people come through in their energy, their personalities come through. And
Yes.
every time I connect and I'll say something like that, their relative or friend or whoever I'm channeling for, they'll say, "That's exactly what he would say. That's exactly what they would say."
Yeah.
And so he said, "I'm too busy to be laid up for a while. This is not going to work for me," is what he said. And then I checked in with God and I was like, "Is that right?" And God's like, "Yes." So I was like, "Okay, great." So I just relayed that message to her. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's strong. He's got this, and we're gonna pray." But also to pray for her, right?
Mhm.
So I said, "I'm praying for you and the people caring for him, because caring for a loved one is so stressful,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Caring for a loved one is so stressful. Caring for people who you love, because you're not only having to take care of yourself, you're having to take care of someone. Caregivers. My mother's an in-home health nurse, and she takes care of elderly all the time, and so I have so much compassion for her and so much, you know, empathy for what she
Yeah.
experiences. So, what I want to do, I would really love if people are willing, if they're able. I want to start a light list. And what did we call it earlier, DD? Tell
The
me.
light intercession list.
A light intercession. So
Mhm.
so other people might call it a prayer list or something like that. I love that. A light intercession list. If you need somebody if you have someone who would like healing, who would like light sent to them, who wants prayer, send us a message. Where can they do that, Dee Dee? Where can they send that?
So I recommend, because most people watch the live stream or replays on Facebook and or YouTube or things like that. But Facebook allows people to send us a private message if they don't want to put their information in a comment field. So Beyond the Edge Productions at Beyond the Edge TV on Facebook is the best way to do that. And one thing, Brandy and I are very ethical. Your information will not be shared. And if you really need a private one-on-one type thing, message us that, and we'll reach out and set something up.
Right.
You
I,
know.
yeah, like I'm really big on ethics, hugely big on
Mm-hmm.
ethics,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of business, right? So
Mm-hmm.
So privacy is always number one. Nobody else needs to know what you're putting out there. And so people who need healing, who need guidance, who are under a lot of stress right now, also people who might have been suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
caregivers, please add caregivers to that list.
Yes.
They need it more than anybody else because they give so much
Yes.
and they don't ask for a lot back.
No.
I'm a recovering caregiver. A recovering rescuer, right?
Yeah, me
So
too. I don't even do that. I mean,
no.
I do it differently now. I don't have to expel the physical energy because now I know how to invoke and invite the healing energy a different way.
That's right. And
So,
when you do it
mhm,
through Creator, let me tell
yeah,
you something, guys. When you do that, when you care through Creator, it looks and feels so different. You don't
yeah,
get exhausted. You don't
yeah,
get tired. You just do what God is telling you to do and you get energized. It's
yes.
amazing. It's
Can we talk?
amazing.
Can we zone in on that just for a minute? That
Yeah,
what you
sure.
just said,
We have a little time. Yeah.
because a lot of energy workers are under a, I don't know, it's like a disbelief or a belief that it needs to exhaust them. And I think that's, they were taught that so they could feel validated in that they did something, that they showed up and did some work. Or, and I'm trying to figure out how to say this without sounding ugly, but doing what is aligned by Creator and being that, first of all, being that is not exhausting because you're in love with the person you're going to talk to, Creator, and they only send love through you
That's
to
right.
be out. Love is love, that kind of love, that unconditional whole light you can't even conceive with your eyes is not exhausting. And
That's
I just I invite people to, can you do a download for the perspective of it isn't exhausting? I'm gonna let, if you don't mind, will you do
Yep,
that?
I can do that. I was also gonna do something else,
Hmm.
so I'll add that to it. So
Yeah,
download for healing is exhausting, is that
not
that
exhausting.
healing is not exhausting. Okay, so
Yes.
so so we always so I like to talk into positive, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So instead of it's energizing, it's
Right.
uplifting, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. That the person that is standing in the gap and interceding, why that's why we call a light intercession list,
Mhm.
you aren't drained. You are, because you've got healing energy flowing through you. You should be lit up like a Christmas tree, all kinds of energy
That's
and
right.
ready to exude that. So,
That's right.
I
Being a
think,
It's
mhm,
absolutely true. Being a
mhm,
clear conduit on the highest level
yes,
means being open and accepting also of light yourself.
yes,
And it's not like you're taking away from anything. It's endless. I
yes,
mean, in healing energy, unconditional love is endless. It lasts
yes,
forever and
yes,
there's no limit. There's
yes,
that limitless again.
yeah,
There's no limit
yes,
to how much is available to us. There isn't.
hmm,
I mean, it's infinite, right?
yes,
So I definitely, let's do that. I also do that first. No, we'll do that second. The
okay,
first thing I want to do is I want to show you guys and just kind of go through this experience of unconditional love. Anybody
mhm,
can do unconditional love, right? But when you send it to someone, when you send love or healing unconditional love, you want to give it to yourself first.
right,
So that's number one. Number one, you give yourself unconditional love, unconditional. And I'm not going to do this as a meditation necessarily, but I want to do it as kind of a visualization.
okay,
So if you would just kind of close your eyes for a moment and take into your heart unconditional love. Take into your heart healing. Take nurturing. Bring it in. And where does it come from? It comes from above, in through the crown chakra into your heart. It can come from below. It could come from the energy of the earth. Bring it up
through the chakras and into your heart. Give to yourself first. So bring that energy into your heart, unconditional love, peace, joy, laughter.
Mm.
See it coming in and swirling in the center of your heart. And then take that energy, bring that energy up through the top of your head, and then see it overflowing out of you, and almost as if there's an endless supply of it now that it's inside of you. And let it overflow to the people that are close to you, your family, your friends, your pets. Let it overflow into your home, and then let it keep going into your neighbors. And again, endless supply coming out through your heart into your neighbors, your neighborhood. It keeps going to the people in your city, and not just people, but all kinds of creatures, all kinds of beings. Send it out to the nature in your city. Keep going into your state. See your state, look at that energy, visualize it moving into all parts of your state. And now the country, unconditional love flows to everyone and everything inside your country. Let it go. Let it keep going to the world. Look, you're that powerful. You are that powerful. And continue to wrap it around the earth. Allow it to keep moving. It doesn't stop there. It goes further out into the galaxy. Wow, look at that expansion. And then it keeps going out to the universe. And would you believe there are multiple universes? So multiverse, omniverse, keep it going all the way out. If you can even fathom it, I know you can. And then beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And then take a breath in and a breath out. And open your eyes back to reality if you had your eyes closed, which, it's all reality here. So that was fun.
Yes, that was
And
good.
I feel good. I
I
feel
do too.
energized. I feel absolutely energized.
Mm-hmm.
And the breath grounds us. So if you're worried about coming back and going, oh, wait, I didn't take it, you don't need to take it back in. It cascades out. And when you breathe in, you come back to yourself. You come back to you. The breath is so incredibly powerful. God, we're gonna do a show just on breathing. I can't wait. We're gonna do just on breathing, the different types of breath and what they do and how they do it. That's gonna be fun.
Even the medical field, if they don't believe in God, anybody that practices in that, the first thing is, are they getting oxygen? That's and then they go to see if there's a pulse. Then they go to see if there's eye movement. It's get that oxygen, get that breath to them. And so, you learn life-saving techniques. So I think, we're just going to invite people that day when we do that show is to learn your own life-saving technique, how to breathe so that it blesses your body.
That's
and
right.
You take in all the good stuff that's there.
That's right. It is so much goodness. There's so much goodness and so much life. Breath is life-giving, and
Mm-hmm.
it's and I can't okay. I'm not gonna go into breath because that'll take me way off course. Take me way off course. We'll do a breath show. We'll do a breath show one day. So let me do that download you just asked about.
Okay.
And the download is that healing is energizing, it's intercessionary, and it's the opposite is not true. So the belief that it has to drain you, healing
Right.
has to drain. We're going to change that belief. We're
Right.
going to move it out, let it go. Won't be a thing in our bodies anymore. Something else that goes along with that. Something about sacrifice. What is
Oh
that?
yeah. It's like sacrificing your personal needs to and that's a lot of the Christian beliefs. It's a lot of things that go with religion. It's like you have to give beyond what you're able to.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate because if you don't have it, you can't give it. So you are only able to give what you have. So it's not draining.
Right.
You're filled up to do that. You're prepared and equipped to do that.
Yes.
So it's not a sacrifice. You're not starving yourself.
No, and the idea that we have to suffer in some way so that
Yes.
somebody else can have life or
Well,
have healing.
and let me just give an example. I had a friend, she's a shaman, she's still my friend, but her I mean, and she's just a powerful healing person. I mean, she has a lot of gifts. But she was going to work with somebody that was, like, near death, and, her knee blew out as she was entering the door. She just stepped wrong or whatever. Her immediate association was that that happened because she was going to do something good. So, yeah, no, the enemy can't not attack you like that. It's she stepped wrong. So realizing that all that comes about based on our choices, not because we're going to do something good, but you just weren't careful. You stepped wrong, or your knee needed attention that you weren't giving it. So you took away from yourself, not what you were doing.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. There is a bigger picture too. I mean, is there a
Yeah.
possibility that maybe should not have gone there that day for that
Right.
thing? I mean,
Right.
there's such a bigger picture that we don't see, and then we make assumptions about things just based on our beliefs. It's
But
just
that's where I think you can tie that into the sacrifice
that's right.
term. It's an effort. People have to get ready to work. I mean, I just cringed when I said that. It's like, you know, but
Okay.
that's how you feel when you're going against what you really should be doing.
That's right. That's
And
right.
take the obligation out of it. It becomes a privilege and it becomes a joy. It's like we've turned work into joy. And you don't have to get ready to work. It's always available, a ready tapped in source. And
Right.
you just and when it's a joy, you're just doing it. You don't
Yeah,
sacrifice.
that's right. So let's
Yeah.
get rid of that obligation to
Yeah.
sacrifice and suffer to do
Yeah.
good work.
Right.
And the first thing that healing work is draining or energizing.
Mhm.
So we'll take that out. And then, of course, any seed experience that we had that gave us that notion or that idea could have been a traumatic thing that happened.
Right.
And just the idea of the story of the martyr or,
Yes.
the Christ model of having to sacrifice on the cross and honestly, like, I mean, it may have served us at some point to believe those things, but
Mhm.
I don't feel like it serves me for sure. If it
Mhm.
serves other people, you wanna keep that belief, that's cool.
Right.
I don't judge people for the beliefs they wanna keep. I think that's your choice. We all
Yes.
have a choice.
Yes.
So and it's not condemning anybody for believing that either.
Mm-mm.
That's just the way it is. But and when you're ready to think of things differently and you've seen how it serves you in the past and maybe it's
Mhm.
not serving you anymore, then it's time to shift and change. So let's just do that really quick. If you want that, if you want those things, you think you have those beliefs inside of you, just say yes out loud and then it shall be done whenever I do the theta. Okay, so just breathe and relax. Okay, and then breathe in and breathe out. Okay, that was good. So I definitely afterwards I felt very calm and more peaceful. I felt like a lot of things had let go. And so, coming days, what can you expect? Things will look different. Things will look
Yeah.
different. Theta is a wonderful tool because what theta healing does is it really just shifts your perception, it shifts your beliefs, and then organically, naturally, things change in a way that they needed to change. It's just
Mhm.
so simple. We'll talk more about theta healing on another show. We'll have Viana on.
Oh, that sounds good.
So I tested before. I looked into it, and I got yes, Viana can definitely come on and talk to us. So I got yay! That's the
Yeah.
founder and the person who uncovered theta healing. She's
Mhm.
phenomenal, phenomenal woman. Okay, so now that we did some clearing, definitely had to do that to talk about this next piece about what's possible and what's going to happen in terms of our superpowers in the Aquarian age. So, an age, right?
Mhm.
Typically, in astrology, it lasts about 2,000 years or so, okay? Because it takes some time for things to kind of go through, and it goes through each astrological sign, basically, and it's about a couple thousand years. So there's actually some debate about how many zodiac signs there are, believe it or not. Some people say 12, some people say 13. This is like just come about not too long ago. And I don't want to squabble over those kinds of details. I think if you're in that camp, you're in that camp, and then you believe what you believe. And debating about it doesn't help us,
No.
And indecision about it doesn't help us. One of my teachers used to say, Carolyn Mace, she would say, schizophrenia is not our next level of evolution.
No.
And it's not, I mean, obviously, you're saying, but it's like, it's not confusion. It's not, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. This is what I believe, and this is what's true. And this is what it's how we're going to operate in our lives. So in terms of, we say superpowers, or we say, psychic powers, you can say whatever you want. It's just power. These are just powers that we have. And it's just like any other power, the power of your voice, the power to make a choice, the power to move something with your hand from one place to another and realize that it has consequences. That's a power. So we have a lot of different kinds of powers that we take for granted. Let me tell you that right now. So first of all, you need to learn how to use the powers that you have.
Absolutely.
Learn to use your voice. Learn to use your intelligence. Learn to use your body. The body has so many secrets. We haven't even unlocked half of the, secrets in the body yet. So there's that. Once you learn to use some of these powers, you're given more. More is revealed. Nobody gives anything to you. You already have it. You just have to claim it. More is revealed to us.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah. So some of the powers, some of the wonderful types of abilities that we have, okay, already, that people might think, well, that's not possible. Well, that doesn't happen. Let's talk about it. Telepathy. Being able to read each other's minds. No lie. You and your partner do it all the time, right? You and your significant other. And here's what they do. They say, oh, we're meant to be. He finishes my sentences. Well, guess what? If you're in a proximity long enough with someone, there's something called resonance, and you will start to say and do the same kinds of things. That's just science. That's not kismet. Okay? let me just put it out there for you. That's just science. It's not kismet. Because I've known people in relationships who thought they were so meant to be together, and then the other person starts getting abusive. And you go, oh, but he's my soulmate. Oh, no, honey. He's not your soulmate. He's there to teach you something.
Yeah.
Don't let people take advantage of you, or whatever your lesson is, right? And then we have those kinds of things where it's telepathy. Yes, we can read each other's minds. There's resonance. There's energy. What do you call siphoning? So I will call it a power, but I will also say that when you're on the other side of that power, you need to recognize when you're being siphoned.
I don't, I'm not a victim. I was a target for that. So I've moved myself out of that. And one of those things was through relationships, being siphoned. They see the light, they see the strength, they see this and they see that. And because you're so, you think that person's supposed to be in your life. And again, looking at what the lesson is, they drain you. You almost become a lifeless, like, what? I had friends tell me, I don't even know who you are. You totally shrink down and become someone else.
Right.
And so,
we call them energy vampires.
Yes. Yes.
So think about this. If that's true, if people can siphon your energy, if there are those energy vampires who can pull energy from people, guess what? There's also people have an ability to give off light.
Yes.
And generate it in a way that enlightens people, that helps people, grow. And you just have to say a few words. Even you can look at someone and that power is evident. So I don't even know if there's a name for that, but I'm going to call that, just shining a light. Like, that's a power right there.
It is shining a light. And, for my Christian friends, the ones that, are biblically aware, identifying that for me was seeing where it talks about Jesus not being a shadow of turning. He was so full of light and so full of God and so full of who he was as a human being that the light, he couldn't cast a shadow. So that's, that's again becoming a person without limits, becoming, somebody that doesn't cast shadows in your life or anybody else's.
That's right. Being Christ-like means being more
Yes.
a light like Christ.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful. And so let's keep going. So manifestation, instant manifestation, right?
Oh, I love that.
So speaking something or, right, allowing something into existence, we already do this.
Yeah.
We already do
Yes.
this.
What I
And
love
go ahead.
what I love about that is I'm around people that they are starting to identify with, oh, I got to watch what I say. Because whether it's good or bad, whatever scale you're looking at that through whatever lens, it's like, whoops, I didn't mean that to happen. But it's like, bam, there it is, So yeah, learning that you actually have that much power in just your words.
You really do. We all
Yeah.
do. We
Mm-hmm.
absolutely do. And so more things that are happening. Another one, you may have heard of remote viewing. This is where you can project your consciousness, your vision to someplace far away or
Mm-hmm.
in somebody else's house and be able to see what's going on. This is happening on so many levels from so many people. I have to tell you, anybody can learn how to do this. This is not rocket science. It's just practice.
But I think they identify it with something different. It's that gut instinct, like a mother with a child, knowing that something's happening in and they try to contact them or whatever, and the kid's like, well, how did you know? Well, that's a innate God-given created power that you're allowed to manifest. Once you recognize it's there, explore it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And keep practicing,
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up to the desire of the person of what they
Right.
want.
Right.
What's important to them. There's that question, if you could have any superpower, what would you have? Well, the power to like touch somebody with love,
Yes.
I mean, or whatever, like that's mine, right?
Yes.
So depending on what your purpose is, and your purpose is self-guided, there's no like God gives you your purpose. No. Self-guided purpose
Mm-hmm.
is what we're here for. Bilocate. So people who can be in two places at once. People say that. They're like, oh no, there's saints.
Yeah.
I can name them off, saints who have this ability, who've done this. And so you can, see that happening. People also, there's people do fly. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. Flying, starts with levitating, and then people
Mm-hmm.
can fly. Like that's a thing,
Mm-hmm.
in physical form. In
Yeah.
physical form. Astral projection,
Mm-hmm.
again, where you can project your consciousness someplace else. It doesn't even have to be on Earth. You can project it someplace else. So on telepathy, also, I wanted to mention there's also a concept of having telepathy with ETs. If you
Yes.
watch a movie, I forgot the title, but Stephen Greer did a movie recently about how he teaches people to connect with ETs. I don't agree with everything in that movie because there are ETs or other beings that are just like humans. They have a malicious intent as well as compassion intent. So
Mm-hmm.
so benevolence and malevolence. So just like we have good and bad bacteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beneficial bacteria. Now it's just our perception. Don't get me wrong. It's just about our perception of how it's interacting with us. In and of itself, it's there's not what do you not content what do you call it, there's no oh, what's the word I'm looking for, there's no good or bad,
Yeah.
right? That's not necessarily the words I was looking for, but there's no good or bad just in and of itself. But from our perception, we give it value. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. It has no value, but we give it value. So that's an important thing to remember, even when trying to contact other beings or in context of how we interact with them, there is value given. So, positive, negative, that kind of thing. That kind of
Mhm.
value is what I'm talking about. What are some other gifts, or not gifts, but powers? Anything
Ooh.
else you can think of?
Um, I guess seeing spirits, and like, recognizing a being in the room, seeing angels,
Yes. So
communication.
being able to
Mhm.
phase shift,
Mhm.
right? Being able to phase shift and communicate with other beings.
Mhm.
I say phase shift because there are different. Well, there we go with the scientific talk again. But
Yeah, that's okay
being
though.
being able to go from one existence to another
Mhm.
and know that our consciousness is moving through those things and know how to move through those things.
Mhm.
As you mentioned, and yes, and so other entities,
Ooh.
other beings who are deceased, or we perceive as being deceased, or animals, that type of communication that's happening now. What's another one? I when I came up earlier. Oh, the obvious one: healing,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
self healing, and healing of others. And here's what I think about that one. This is such an interesting take. So my philosophy on healing is, and this sounds very simple. For me, a lot of things are very simple, but being able to be in the present moment and understanding that that is the only moment that exists. So if in the quote next moment, it's not really a next moment, it's just the moment, when you can choose or help someone choose to have a different reality, that's healing.
Yes. Yes. What they
And
believe about what's going on in their body,
that's right.
and accepting
That's
the
right.
difference. Yeah.
And the power of creator, right? Believing
Mhm.
in the power of creator. And I believe that God created man in his image as a creator, not necessarily physical image, but an image as a creator.
Yes.
We create each moment. And so, if that's true, then we create the next moment where we're healed.
Mhm.
Pretty simple. And sometimes we need permission slips to do that. So
Yes.
things like Reiki, theta healing, um, EFT,
Shamanism. Mhm.
yeah, EFT, vibrational frequencies.
Yes.
We've been talking about that. That's a permission slip.
Yes.
That's a and it's just our own stuff. Like it's our own
Mhm.
limitation of what we need to do things differently. That's
Yeah.
all. The
Yeah.
truth
I
is,
agree.
we can do it all day long, anytime we want. But because we have this physicality, and we're bound by this physicality,
Mhm.
quote bound, right? Then we we perceive limitations.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
back to limitlessness again.
Yes. And I agree. It's like, I think there's a term that says physician heal thyself. Why are physicians sick? Or why, like for me, for example, sneezing during the show. Well, if you're this, you know, woo woo healer, why do you sneeze? Well, something in my belief system that I haven't been able to accept or tap into or understand or uncover, because that's what we do through theta, is uncover what's happening. There's just something there. And I don't know if that's intentional setup, or, so that again, everything is an experience and learning and discovery about self, and how to bring back about that healing and energy to light, and then others see it and you're able to share how it's done.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Everything's a learning and growing and
yes.
experiencing. And when we bring judgment in, self-judgment or judgment into others, that's when things start getting complicated.
Yes. Yes.
When we start to accept and love each other for who we are, where we are, things flow really nice. It's just a natural progression of growth and
Mhm.
and love and connection. So the one thing that I've been thinking about lately too, the power of love. Let's talk about the power of love,
Yeah.
the superpower of love, right?
Yeah.
When someone tells you that you need to hate someone else because of something they did or something they said or how they're doing things, that's a red flag,
Definitely.
right? That's a red flag. Because when people start talking hate versus love, something is amiss. Love is such an incredible superpower. And the fact that we have the ability to love on so many different levels, that to me is a very clear indication that we're here for something much, much bigger than what was initially taught to us. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
We're here for some really incredible things. And we're special in terms of a human race. I think we're special in that we have choice. And this was something that I say quite often because we think love is the most powerful force in the universe, but it's actually not. The most powerful force in the universe is choice because that determines where you put your love. Right?
Yes, and it brings up an interesting concept for me just hearing that. Should we I mean, love on different levels or formats or whatever. I'm seeing like, do we have a choice not to love at every level? Really? I mean, is that what we're growing to? Just that's expanded, and it's no longer a choice; it's just existing.
I think
I,
that's what we're moving towards. I
yeah,
think that's
I
what we're
mean,
moving towards.
because if we are truly about unconditional love, then it becomes just a way of life. It's not a choice. That doesn't mean set yourself up to be used or abused because you love unconditionally. You know,
Mm.
you trying to figure out how to put this without being. It's like just I mean, reaching that level of unconditional love. It's full exposure of the soul, I think, and it's safe.
Mm.
Reaching that level. Does that make sense? I mean, I see it way out here, and I'm trying to figure out how to bring it so other people see what I'm looking at.
It is. I think it makes sense in that it sounds like you're talking about, what is true in spirit.
Mhm.
What is true
Yeah,
in spirit. Human choice. People can choose to not love. I mean, I've
yeah,
seen it. They can
yeah.
choose to not love. They can choose to not love self. They can choose to not love God.
Mhm.
And does it mean that they can't be forgiven or they can't, change? I think I used to think that anyone can change, anyone can go back. But what I've learned recently is there are aspects of us that if we give our power to, let's say, for lack of a better word, a demonic force, a
Mm.
demonic energy, a kind of energy that takes away instead of gives, that is more consumed with death and destruction than with life and light. I think there are some places where there's not a coming back from that,
Mm.
um, in terms of not spirit, but
Right. Their physical manifestation now. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we
Yeah.
all have karma. I mean,
Mhm.
I think we're all subject to laws of karma in terms of like, okay, you're going to work through that next time, whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like.
You want to talk
Um,
about flags? I'm gonna have one. I'm not doing that again. I'm done.
no
Karma?
thanks,
No, thanks. No, thanks.
no thanks. Um, so it becomes this endless cycle of what you choose. You get what you choose. You get what you choose. You get what you choose. And so I think it's us that makes the choice. We determine how we want to live. And when I talk about love being a superpower, then what I'm really saying is when we choose love as our superpower, we choose love and light and healing. Starts with ourself, first of
Mhm.
all, always number one, first with you. Then the things start to unfold where you start to see love. You start to
Mhm.
see more love. Love is also about acceptance, and inclusiveness. And we're going to be talking more about those kinds of things here,
Yes.
because I think it's very important that we understand the concept of what's happening in our world right now in terms of division,
Mm-hmm.
and how certain things are happening that are trying to divide us. But the truth of unity is you accept yourself and you accept others and love others just the way they are.
Yes.
And once we do that, it's a cascade effect.
You refined it. The truth of unity it just is. It's not a choice anymore. It just is. Because first you started, loving yourself, accepting the forgiveness, and whatever that needs to look like to be able to do that, and then it just becomes whoosh, there it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the power that we
Hmm.
really have. The power that we really have is allowing things to be what they are, whatever that is, and stemming from the choices that we make, you
Yes.
know. And our choice is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful.
I know.
that
Interesting.
was that was really cool. So we want to encourage you, all of you, our audience, to chime in. We have a line that you can call, you can text of 805-500-EDGE, or you can also message us in Facebook comments. If you have an idea, something you'd like to hear us talk about, you can message us. Also, we're going to start that prayer intercession list. So if you have someone, or light intercession list, if you have someone that needs healing or unconditional love, or just, keeping someone in your mind, I'm telling you guys, this is powerful stuff. I do theta on a regular basis every single day. And in theta healing, so much can change instantaneously. Next
Definitely
week,
instant.
we're going to have Brenda Bailey on our show. Brenda Bailey is my theta healing teacher. And I'm excited to have Brenda because she and I have we have different perspectives on things, and it's really, really fun to watch the dialogue. She's a great storyteller. She's an incredible healer, and she was my first experience of theta healing, and I'm going to tell that story next week because it's very funny. It's very just mind-blowing. Was for me, for sure. So don't forget to tune in next week to hear us talk with Brenda Bailey. That's going to be exciting. Any other announcements you want to make, Dee Dee, before we close out today?
No, I just encourage people to reach out, like I said, like Brandy said, if there's a topic or something that, you're beginning to walk in your light path, let us know. We'll try to address it. If you have an idea and want to be a guest, you have a product you want us to show and showcase, we just invite you to be a part.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This was a really great show. Like I said, the first one that Dee Dee and I has done, just us, without our guests, without a guest, a present. And it was different. It was definitely different.
Mhm.
I like to talk. I could talk all day. I don't want to, but I
Well,
like
and
it.
for me, as the idea behind the show is to present it more like sitting around a campfire talking, you know, inviting people to that warmth and safe space beyond the edge so that they can get to know us and get to know more of the possibilities for them.
I love it. All right. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you,
And
Brandy.
my pleasure. I wish you all long life and vibrant health. Namaste.
Namaste.